Hi, and welcome to Booking Through Life. I'm Mary, and today we're going to talk about some short story recommendations. And I have three recommendations, two for Victober, and one just kind of spooky Gothic Halloween. So let's get started. We'll start with the Victorian. I talked about this on my October TBR, I think. But I highly recommend Oscar Wilde's short stories for children, especially this illustrated by P.J. Lynch. I'm not going to talk about his illustrations. I did that in my October TBR. So if you're interested more in his information, I have that linked on that video. So there are six stories in this book. It's really just very short stories. You could read this whole thing in one day. I loved every single story. There's themes about love, sacrifice, and even selfishness versus unselfishness. There's giants, princes and princesses, birds, fireworks. One story is called The Remarkable Rocket, and it's about fireworks. There's also flowers. It's just a very nice book. And there's happy endings. There's some tragic endings, and again, beautiful artwork. I highly recommend this book. Good for children and adults. The next book I wanted to recommend is Elizabeth Gaskell's Lois the Witch. And I know you can get Lois the Witch in several different bind-up editions with different collections of stories. This edition, my edition, is a Penguin Classic. It's called a Red, R-E-D, Classics, Red Classics, although it's yellow. So if anyone knows why it's RED Red Classic instead of Yellow Classics, you can let me know in the comments section. But this here edition, love the cover. It has four stories: The Poor Clare, The Doom of the Griffiths, Lois the Witch, and The Crooked Branch. And they range from like 30-ish pages to Lois the Witch is about 100 pages. And let's see, you'll get witches, witchcraft, curses, Gothic ghost stories. One story has some drinking and the perils of drinking. There's some violence in these stories, so if that's not something you're looking for, just be aware. But I liked all four of the stories. My favorite one was Lois the Witch. It's a great story. I highly recommend it. Let's see. Oh, I know. One more thing I wanted to tell you about these stories. You can find them on Project Gutenberg. So if you don't want to actually buy the copy, check them out there. They're available, and then you don't have to spend the money. That's always a bonus. Then finally, this is not Victorian. This is Ellen Montgomery. She's from Canada. We've got a helicopter going overhead because we're located in my backyard. And birds. I was hoping we'd have some birds join us, maybe even a hummingbird. Okay, so I interrupted myself, but let's get back to Ellen Montgomery. So Ellen Montgomery is known for the Anne of Green Gables series, but she also, these were found after her death, and they're some Gothic tales. And I'm just going to read you the blurb on the back. In Among the Shadows, Montgomery presents a vivid portrayal of strong passions, intriguing behavior, and varied characters found in seemingly ordinary towns and villages. Here, too, are stories of a supernatural bent, reflecting the belief that people can come back from beyond the grave to help the living. And there's 19 of these, and for me, I'm about a third of the way through. They've been kind of hit and miss. Some of them I've really liked. Some of them were just kind of meh. There was one that had some really funny lines in it, which is kind of funny. And anyway, I don't have them available, but I think it's worth checking out. I think it would be really good to read on Halloween night, or just one of those nights where it's raining and thundering and you want a little Gothic tale to add to the ambiance of your evening. Anyway, so those are my three. I do have two bonus books for Victober, and that's Cranford. Highly recommend Cranford. It's just a slice of life. There's some really funny stories in here about the Cranford women and villagers. Highly recommend that. And then the Alice in Wonderland. Anytime I have that I can show this book, I will. But I haven't finished the Through the Looking Glass. This one has both Through the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. There's my neighbor. The Adventures in Wonderland took me, like a couple of hours to read. It reads very quickly, very zany. If you're in the mood for a zany book, this is a good one. Anyway, thank you for joining me. That's all I have for today, and I hope to see you again soon. And again, I hope every book is a good one. See you later.